Alright, now that you've seen the video of what I will be doing, I'm installing 48 rock lights in the Suzuki Carry. I'm going to show you what it takes to get everything installed and what it all looks like before installation. So let's get to it. Alright, first things first, we're going to do a couple of measurements. Debating about putting at least 2 lights up here and then a couple of multiples all the way along, and if there's enough, I'll put some in here and possibly even down to this bottom piece. There's 16 total per kit, so I'm going to try to kind of squeeze it in and spread them out as best as I can. So like I said, I'll try to go ahead and fit 16 of them and we'll see how far that goes. So I just kind of finished marking everything. I kind of placed a little cross right here that's going to have 9 all the way line. And then it's going to have 2 on top. It'll be 3 down here and then 2 down here. So this is going to be one side of it. The other side is going to receive the same thing. And then we're going to figure out what to do with the things up top right here. But we'll leave that last. Gonna pre-drill all the holes all the way from the front to back. The ones on the bottom right here, and then 2 more right here. Got all the holes pre-drilled. This one is made out of like some kind of board, so there's not really any pre-drilling on that one. So let's go ahead and mount every light and then wire everything back up. So I got all the lights mounted. Just go ahead and plug everything in, and they will be tucked in the zip tie that I added right here. So it's gonna, since it doesn't really have any place to mount it, so kind of have to improvise. So, but yeah, I already got everything mounted, and then once everything is done here, we'll do the other side. It is 9 o'clock in the morning. I just finished all the lights from both sides. Temporarily have all the wiring right here just for testing. I already got the control modules or the wireless Bluetooth receiver deal all mounted. So got everything right here. Got some on top, both sides. I'm going to go ahead and focus on what I'm going to do in the front just to kind of see what can be done. Thinking about putting maybe 1, 2, 3 on both sides, so that's 6. A couple underneath, that way it'll flash and kind of illuminate the inside of the cabin itself. So I'm going to go ahead and sit down, kind of go over it, look it over, just to make sure where I'm going to be mounting all these. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to be preparing to basically just cut all these wires off since they're all kind of not done up right anyway. They are all rusted as well, so I'm just going to cut everything out and just basically leave all the lights in there, I guess just for decoration. So that means there's not going to be any holes that's needing void or filled or anything like that, so nothing's going to be voided, or yeah, just nothing to fill. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to mount all these lights. I still got 16 more to go. Like I said, I'm going to leave all of these lights right here and just basically mount it from the front. So, and then there's going to be a couple on the sides. Good afternoon, everyone. Beautiful day today. So we're going to go ahead and continue working on the K truck. I did have to stop working on the Bel Air since I'm still waiting on parts for the thing. So got all my parts in. Gonna go ahead and wire everything up. Gonna go ahead and cut all these wires out since that's not staying here, since it's all a mess. So I did try to hook up just to see if it's even gonna turn on, and my power supply fuse blew as soon as I touched the signal wires to turn them on. So yeah, we're definitely not keeping that. We're gonna go ahead and cut everything and then pretty much wire up everything that we ran right here. I did 3 on the sides, and then I also did a couple in the front, so it'll illuminate the inside of the truck itself, and then obviously the other side. I also ordered new side view mirrors from Japan, so that should be here today, I believe. So we are moving on. Let's go ahead and get to that. I'm gonna go ahead and cut every single wire leads right here since they're not going to be used. So far that's what I removed. So we are heading in the right direction. Go ahead and clean all these up start wiring everything up, put the wires all the way towards the back, and then basically tie everything together for the LEDs. I went ahead and got everything pretty much mounted, zip tied, secured. I'm gonna go ahead and extend all the power all separately. You can combine all the grounds to one. Then we're gonna drill a small hole right here so all the wires will go through. Reinstall the fuses back before the power supply, and then that should protect everything from the inside. This is just a mock-up. You got 3 power wire, 1 thicker ground. All the switches are going to be on that side. These are all going to be tucked in once it's done. I also drilled a hole right here. That's where all the wires are going to go through. So in an event he does need to add more lights, hole is going to be ready to go inside. So that's pretty much done. I'll run all the wires in there, and then tonight I'll test all the lights. I just unboxed the Power Max 35 amp that's going to be powering the K little truck. This is going to be continuously plugged in at the wall, so the vehicle doesn't have to be on, doesn't have to be running or anything like that, so it'll run continuously. So this is a brand new unit. Obviously got 2-year warranty, so I'm going to go ahead and try to plan it out, see where I'm going to be mounting it. This is not going to be a secured install, as I'm assuming he'd want to take it off here and there. So I will need to ask the manufacturer to see what I'm going to do with this switch A and B, just to make sure it's a continuous 12 volt or 13 volt output. So all right, let's get to that. This is the default voltage that they have it on. That's pretty much set when you receive it. There's going to be 2 dip switches right here. That's for either the 3-stage or a stable output, and the other one is like a voltage, I guess, adjustment. So far it's at 14.7, so just kind of twist the second one with a little screwdriver to adjust pretty much the output that you're needing. So with this one we don't really need 14 volts, so we're going to drop down to at least maybe at 12.5 or 13, since it's not going to need that much. But I'm going to go ahead and fine tune it and then show you what that looks like. So that's pretty much the way you adjust it. As you can see, it drops down increments. So just try to get it down as close to where you want it. I'm not sure what the lowest one is, but I'll go all the way off. So let's see what that drops. So it looks like it's 13 volts, but that'll be okay. So we're gonna work on the K truck a little bit, since that thing is on standstill again. This blue wire is for the brake lamp. So if you have the lights on while you're driving around and things like that, as soon as you apply brakes, it'll get power, and then the whole thing would turn red. So we're not going to need that. So that's going to get cut and then soldered or heat shrink. So got a couple of heat shrinks right here. Let's go take care of that. So I got all the wiring pretty much ran inside. This is going to be the new wiring. I didn't hook it up yet. 3 fuses for all the LEDs. I did get an approval to remove all these unnecessary wiring. Get the factory horn working. And then I'm going to test this and see if it works. Get the radio working with the truck on as well. And he wanted to add more lights up here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then, yeah, let's go ahead and start on that. So this is what I have to clean up. I'm going to be tracing all these wires just to even see where they even go. That way I'm not just unplugging stuff and possibly like not having something turn on once it's all removed. But just to kind of just show you what all of these are. But yeah, all of these are going to be removed, and it's going to be cleaned up a little bit afterwards. So far got majority of the wiring. Go ahead and trace this one. It looks like it's going underneath, and it's running to the battery. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that and then pull the whole thing out. The power wire is finally removed. Had it traced, so it looks like that's feeding all sorts of power to God knows where, but got that removed. we're going to go ahead and trace the rest of the wires that's going on that side and continue on cleaning everything up. So I found more wires and all these boxes that's just kind of hiding everywhere. I would assume these are for the lights. Kind of cool little piece, but it had to go. So less stuff, the better. I'm still trying to trace all these wires, just kind of pulling wires left and right that obviously is not for this truck. So, but it's starting to look better, starting to look cleaner, so we are on the right path. Moving on to the driver's side, gonna remove all that as well, whatever random switch this is that's going to. It does look a lot better now that no wires are just kind of dangling everywhere, but that's just kind of how it is. We can only basically move forward from here on out. More tracing wires, more unsure where they're going. This one's deteriorating, so throwing that away. Hopefully there's a replacement floor mat. I've never seen rubber kind of break apart, but that's just how it is. Gonna go ahead and trace more of that. So you can see it shouldn't be like that, but yeah, there's just so much wrong with this wiring installation, but that's gonna get corrected. So we are heading towards the back of the truck. We're still constantly pulling so many little knickknacks and wires, and both sides are pretty much like this. Like I said, not sure where they're connected to, but they definitely need to go. Now we got all the wires pretty much taken out. It's almost about halfway full on this trash can. We are going ahead and move on, see what the issue with the radio is and see if it's even wired up properly. So there's only one screw that holds it in the between right here, and the whole thing just pops off. Well, that would explain why the radio is not working. It's not even wired up. So not sure what's going on with this, but I guess we are going to have to wire everything up. So I went and rerouted the speaker, mounted to the back. That way there's no wires running underneath. But that's the new place now. It's coming out from all the way in the back right there, so it's going to be all zip tied. That way this thing's going to be mounted kind of probably about right here, so makes it a little bit easier. So I got the radio pretty much wired up. All these are just extra grounds, so I'm going to zip tie all that. Just zip tied pretty much all the unnecessary plugs that doesn't go anywhere. Looks like it has this bracket right here, so I'm going to use that as well. But just simple 2 speakers, which are these, and then power, ground, and accessory, and that pretty much concludes the radio part. So I happened to just kind of pass by and notice one of these cracked. So luckily I kept 5 of them as a backup, so I'm going to replace this because we can't be having that, because I don't know if it's cracked inside where it's going to let some water in or moisture. So I already got one ready to be swapped and pretty much swapped this. So I just finished getting the radio working on the Deko truck and cleaning up the inside. He also asked me if I would be able to put more lights on the part that goes on the roof. So I'm going to go ahead and put some kind of around it. I'm going to go ahead and mount it up top, make some marks, and pretty much start mounting more rock lights on top. Run everything back to the inside and pretty much get that going. I'm still waiting for the horn. He did end up going to fixing the factory one and putting some Japanese horn, which is a lot louder than stock. So while we're waiting on that, we're going to go ahead and do this one first and then get this one knocked out. So I got it down. I actually put it up for a little bit just to see where I'm going to mount the lights. Put it back down. We're going to go ahead and trim all these disgrays of a wiring so it's not just dangling in there. So we're going to go ahead and mount the lights just a little bit above this piece right here. So everything's going to be kind of going right here on this way, and it's going to have lights pretty much on the back too. So it's going to go wrap around. I don't know how many I'd be able to fit in there, but I'll try to put as much as I can and pretty much run the wiring along with the other ones. So, and then we're going to mount the box more than likely on the other side just so it's kind of symmetrical. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and start putting the lights on. and I'll show you what that looks like. So we're gonna go ahead and mount one and then pretty much make all the measurement from one side to another. That way everything is even. Make sure you pilot hole first before you even drive a screw. That way it's not gonna strip or anything like that, or the hole is gonna be too big. So the bit is a little bit smaller than the screw. I did do a couple of test runs before I even started doing that, so just to make sure that the screws are going to be tight in there. So let's go ahead and do that. You might be wondering how I'm measuring everything. Obviously just measure from one side to another, measure from here to the first hole on both sides. Now that you have at least two of them, now you can measure from here to here and then pretty much space it out however you see fit and how you like it. So I got the lights all mounted, pretty much all zip tied in place. I had to drill a couple of holes just so the zip tie has somewhere to kind of hold on to, but everything's pretty much wrapped around. 4 here, 4 on the other side, and then 2, 4, and 6 on the front. So this is the one that's going to go to the controller box. So I'm going to be extending this as far as I can so everything would mount at that location and then practically power everything up. I ended up pulling the Suzuki Carry inside just because it's kind of odd weather we're having here in Kansas. It's starting to get cold and rainy, so I pulled it in. But just to kind of show you, I have every light mounted on both sides. One's on the front, and here are what's going to be hooked up to the box. I'm going to temporarily plug it in just so I know where to run the wires. I do have to take off the harness cover back off since I'm going to be adding another harness to it, and then that box is where the switches are going to be. Yeah, here we are so far. Once we have everything on, I'm going to go ahead and turn everything on just to show you what it'll look like at nighttime. So I haven't even really tested it, so we'll see how it goes. A few hours later, I got the top box pretty much done up. As you can see, everything is pretty much synchronized, different colors. Illuminates the inside, also on the other side. So I'm actually curious what this looks like at nighttime now that the top one is pretty much illuminated as well. So yeah, this is what it looks like so far. It actually looks pretty cool. We got the lights all done up. We're gonna go ahead and move on to mounting these Mitsuba horns from Japan, straight from Japan. So I did already test it. It is actually pretty loud compared to the stock ones. So these are pretty good horns. Now I'm gonna show you how to mount it. Let's get to it. I got the horn pretty much fixed up, mounted right there, 2 of them. I did find 2 wires inside the vehicle under the steering wheel that was cut. I'm not quite sure why they would do that, but hooked it all up, troubleshooted it, and morning time. So I'm going to try and figure out how to possibly hold this, and not quite sure how I'm going to do that, but right now it's only held by bungee cords, so I'm going to try to see if I can drive a couple of screws and see if that'll hold it in place. I'm going to go ahead and replace the mirrors for him since this one's damaged, and might as well replace both with the Japanese ones. So pretty easy to replace. Also going to replace some of these screws. This one's pretty much almost off, and it's the same on the other side. I did drive a couple of self tappers in here just to kind of hold it in place along with the top. Did the same thing on this side, and then like I said, drove a couple more here since it wasn't really held with anything. This is what was holding it in place, is a bungee cord, so won't need that no more. So that's perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take that off and then drive 2 new screws, and pretty much that's what's gonna hold it. So here's the license plate portion of it. The holes that they had here doesn't really line up, so looks like we're going to be drilling new holes for that. I'm also going to drill a hole so this thing has somewhere to kind of slide onto. So it's gonna have 2 holes right here on top and then 1 in the middle. So I've got the frame pretty much mounted over. I did have to add a washer since it was crushing this plastic piece. I also drilled a hole. Not sure if you can see it, but it's right there. That way the wire going through down, routed to the back, which is pretty much this one. I added a little loom, split loom on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to figure out which one's the parking light and then pretty much wire everything up. So I got the parking light working. You will need the red and white to go with the parking light signal, and then the outer part is the ground. I'm gonna go ahead and put a liquid tape and seal the connection and then put everything back together. Got the license plate frame pretty much all dialed in, lit up with the parking light, so that's another part that's done. Since I screwed all these panels in here, I'm gonna go ahead and help him out and figure out how to secure all that. So I'm gonna find some screws and see how I can hold that in place. Just got back from Ace Hardware, grabbing some screws. I'm gonna go ahead and secure all of these ones with no screws. It's pretty much the same on the other side, so let's get to that. I thought I was done with this truck, but I just noticed that the turn signal for the front is not working. I'm gonna go ahead and try to figure that out and see what I can find and hopefully fix that before the end of the week. So I finally got the turn signal figured out. That's gonna be the left side and the right side. Upon inspection underneath, this does look like turn signal wires just kind of leaning on top of the heater core piping. So I'm gonna try to zip tie it back to that location, which is pretty much damaged, so I'm gonna have to try to figure something out. So I had to kind of maneuver the wiring a little bit as it was just resting on the heater core or the radiator piping right here, so this would have melted real quick. So I just kind of zip tied it away from it and moved it around. It was kind of a pain doing that, but here's the second one, and that one's pretty much away from it, so I'm not going to worry too much on it. But overall, the turn signal is pretty much done, and I'm going to go ahead and clean up the truck and get it ready for pickup. So the turn signals is fixed. That pretty much concludes the full installation of everything on this truck. Got all the lights, got the radio, got the license plate frame, the turn signal's working, the radio, pretty much everything in between. So hopefully you guys learned something. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment. Please subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Other than that, that's pretty much a wrap. Before I end the whole video, I just wanted to see at nighttime what the lights look like. So this is the full power and pretty much all 57 rock LED lights would look like in a Deko truck. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. And there are more up front, but if I walk out, it's gonna trigger my lighting, so I'm just gonna leave it be like this. But I just wanted to show you what everything looks like at nighttime. So overall, it's pretty cool. The inside also illuminates. Like I said, there are more up front, so gives it more light.